Welcome back to another Doctor Who product review. Today we'll be taking a look at one of the latest releases as a part of the Robert Harrop Doctor Who limited edition hand-painted figurine series. This time round I'm going to be taking a look at the Clockwork Soldier as seen in the second Doctor story, The Mind Robber. This product is a limited edition to 200 units and is in fact the Christmas special for 2018. Yes, that is right, it is now March 2019 and I'm still taking a look at a festive related product because, hey, I love Christmas that much and I can't wait to review more Christmassy related merchandise. Now, this product was originally priced at £65 and as it is a limited edition to 200 units, it is in fact already at the current time of filming sold out on the Robert Harrop website, which just goes to show and prove that if you are a fan of this line and if you like what you see, certainly pre-order these statues before they actually come out, because all of the ones I've reviewed over the past few months have in fact sold out already. They are for the collectors and do normally tend to sell out within the first few months of release. So yeah, they do have quite a lot of collector's value and this product is, as I say, already sold out. So your only chance to actually pick this up is no doubt from third-party retailers. Now, it has in fact been quite a long time since my previous Robert Harrop review. It has been that long that they've now decided to change the packaging to coincide with the 13th Doctor era of the show, as previously seen in 2018. So we have the Doctor Who logo there at the very top, now with the Jodie Whittaker 13th Doctor logo in the white typeface with the stacked format, and then at the very bottom we get limited edition hand-painted figurine and the Robert Harrop logo. In the very middle of the box, you get a rather nice row of Gallifreyan insignia along with the unique sticker for this product that states that this is the Clockwork Soldier from the second Doctor era, 1966 to 1969, and as it says at the very top on the code, it does state that this is from the Doctor Who line and it's the Christmas special for 18. The whole of the front of the box is of course a rather nice looking dark blue design, much like the previous boxes in the series. However, at the sides of the box we get this rather cool design of the TARDIS exterior, these public call box signage at the very top, and the pull to open sign at one side as well, and this is exactly the same for the opposite side of the box also. The very top of the box on the lid you do also get another sticker that does in fact state that this is unit 181 out of 200 units. Much like the previous figures released as a part of the Doctor Who Robert Harrop series, the box is made of rather high quality corrugated cardboard to ensure that the statue on the inside of the box is protected when in transit. And if that wasn't enough, the figure does also come surrounded by an absolute load of bubble wrap that thankfully, from what I understand, this bubble wrap isn't from Kablam, so certainly isn't going to blow up anytime soon. I hope. I really hope. Very much like the design of the packaging, the design of the certificate of authenticity has also seen a little bit of an upgrade in order to be consistent with that of the 2018 13th Doctor logo. However, the basic idea of the certificate is pretty much exactly the same. We have the logo there at the very top along with a rather nice image of the robot as seen in The Mind Robber, actually colorised, which is a really nice touch. Certified by Robert Harrop, the unique identification number there, nicely written. And then also on the very back we do also have a little bit of information about Robert Harrop as a company there at the very bottom, as well as a little bit of additional information about the Mind Robber as an actual story. So here we have the Clockwork Soldier out of his box, and he looks really cool. This is a figure that naturally looks instantly really effective in the figure or statue format, simply because of the colours used and the way that it stands out when on the shelf. I think that the Mind Robber is one of those perfect stories that always will look cool in merchandise form. You've got so many opportunities throughout this episode to create merchandise, and something that always baffled me about the classic series line of action figures was the lacking figures from the Mind Robber. You have the Clockwork Soldier, you have the white robots, and then you have those rather stereotypical superheroes and princesses from the story as well, all of which from the land of fiction. The episode is very fairy tale and very childlike in the way that it's visualised, and I think that is the perfect opportunity for merchandise. So I am very glad that Robert Harrop has in fact created this figure, because although it's not one of the most standout villains at all really, it is still something that looks really cool when on display, especially next to the second Doctor, and I would love to maybe even see a white robot at some point, because even those designs look very cool and very visually interesting. Now, of course, for the actual design itself, the Clockwork Soldier isn't really anything too complex. It is rather British in its design. Of course, we have the big massive gun there along with the hat, and all of the colours are something of which that is rather basic. However, due to this figure being hand-painted, all of the detailing is really sharp. And so firstly, taking a look at the likeness of the Clockwork Soldier, as you can see, he is a really jolly chap. He is very smiley and has lots of expression on his face. Jokes aside, he looks incredibly basic in his design, much like how he actually was within the story. Now, the paint taps on the actual face itself is this rather nice, almost salmon pink colour, to reflect that of a colour of a skin tone. It's almost a little bit peachy in some angles as well. We have a little bit of sculpting there at the very top to kind of show the panels on the face, as well as the eyebrows there coming around to the rather pointed nose at the very middle. Of course, the eyes have been recreated simply by using some little blocks of colour, which are in fact rather triangular in their design. And then of course we have the mouth there at the very bottom as well, looking rather robotic in its simple, rather slot looking fashion. Taking a look at the sides of the face, we have a little bit more detail, where we have the sides of the hat coming around to almost look a bit like sideburns. We have a little bit of detailing on this that has been sculpted, of almost some ripples there within the actual material itself. And then we do also have a few additional paint taps on the sides of the face, around where the ears will be in real life. The detailing on this is in fact rather nice and sharp and intricate. And then of course around the very back of the head, we don't really have anything whatsoever. We just have the black of the back of the head itself to kind of give the impression of the hat or even the hair. And talking about the actual hat itself, once again the sculpt of this is rather basic and simplistic, however effective at the same time. The majority of this has just been painted in your standard matte black colour. However, in the very middle we get this really lovely emblem kind of design, or a logo, that really nicely sticks out. As you can see, we have some gold plating there at the very bottom, along with a few designs etched into this. It almost looks like a coin. And then in the very middle we do also get this rather nice bulbous section there that has been painted in a slightly lighter yellow colour, along with a more glossy yellow in the very middle. Once again, this stands out quite a lot, especially on that black hat. Then what is also a very nice paint application feature is we do have this rather small band at the very bottom of the hat that has in fact been painted in a glossy black colour, and the same does in fact apply to the actual cap piece itself that does jut out over the face, which does look really cool and really effective. Moving down to the lower half of the figure, where we have the main part of the costume itself, once again we have the continuation of the rather basic and simplistic design, which is in fact really effective. To start with, I love the way that this has actually been sculpted. I think that the arms especially make this figure look very much like a Clockwork Soldier or a toy that is normally given to a small child. There is just something about it that is very blocky in the way that it has been built. It doesn't look like a person in a suit, it looks like an actual mechanical action figure. Once again, the majority of the costume itself has been painted in this rather nice fiery red colour. However, in the very middle we do have a few details there that have been sculpted on, of 3 buttons, 2 of which are at the top and 1 there at the bottom in a rather nice glossy black colour. And then we do have the bands of white there in a cross in the very middle also, and this does also continue onto the belt there that does wrap around the waist and does in fact also go around to the back, where it does go under the wind-up box section. Now, something that does make the Robert Harrop line of statues stand out compared to that of a standard action figure is their intricate paint applications. As you can see around the shoulder sections here, where we have these flares, these haven't just been painted in a standard white design. This time round they in fact do have a white wash on there. However, the majority of this is in fact collected through lots of different shades of yellows to kind of give the material a rather dated and battered look. And I think that this is really effective. It actually makes the material look like it is standing out, and it almost makes it look like it is old and bunched together. And of course at the very top there as well, we just have those standard black shoulder pads that are once again painted rather nicely and sharply. However, nothing really too much is going on there. So yeah, that is really cool. I really do like that. I think that these tassels are in fact probably one of the main highlights of the costume itself. Both of the arms of the jacket have once again been sculpted in order to have cuffs, and we do have these painted black there at the very bottom, along with the additional paint taps of 3 buttons at either side, which is replicated on both arms, as well as the white gloves there at the very bottom, which are in fact a rather nice glossy white, so you have the occasional bit of creasing in there as well as a few yellow paint taps around the sides in order to create some shading. And finally, to finish off this section, we do also have the sculpting of the belt buckle, which has also been painted in a glossy black colour in order to make it stand out further, much like the cap on the hat. Turning the figure around to the back, of course, to take a look at the main clockwork section of the figure itself to kind of grant it its own name. Of course, we have the wind-up part of the clockwork soldier itself. Now, this has just been replicated very simply by using a rectangular block that has, of course, been painted once again in a matte black colour, similar to that of the trousers, shoes, and the top of the hat. And there isn't really much design on this whatsoever. We do have a few designs there around the side of almost etching or a little bit of creasing within the box itself, and nothing really too much else to talk about. And then of course we have the key there in the very middle that is in fact a separate piece, which is once again sculpted to be that of standard clockwork key. Once you have in fact put this into place, you can also wind up the key to give the impression of actually winding up the clockwork soldier, which is a really nice novelty. Now, something to be careful about is when you have the key actually locked within the back of the figure, this doesn't stay in place. So if I am just very carefully to tilt up the figure here, as you can see, eventually this key will fall out. So yeah, this isn't the most secure piece. However, I presume that if you are a collector of Robert Harrops, you tend to display your statues upright as delicate and are meant for display purposes only. Moving down to the lower half of the uniform, we have the legs. Now, a very similar complement to the arms at the top of the figure, where the legs have been sculpted in a manner in order to look very blocky and like they don't possess any emotion or control. They're just very simplistic and basic, and we do have a little bit of paint application on these that have just been painted entirely in a matte black colour. And then we do also have a few creases running down the sides there as well in order to give the impression of material, but other than that there is literally nothing on these whatsoever. It does look very basic and once again very effective to the trousers as seen within the actual series. And then of course this finishes off there at the very bottom with the shoes, which once again a very similar manner to the trousers have just been sculpted in a rather nice blocky design, of course coming to the end there in a rather straight as opposed to curved boot, very much like an action figure or doll. And once again these have just been painted in a matte black colour. Of course, the Clockwork Soldier does also come posed with a bayonet, which is once again a really nice sculpt, and something of which that is rather unusual for the Robert Harrop line of statues. Normally when figures come with accessories, it's normally something rather small and not really very noticeable, like a sonic screwdriver, and not particularly one big massive gun with a knife sticking out of the end. So once again, this is something much more for those older collectors. It's once again, much like the rest of the figure, actually made of a rather delicate material, and if you were to drop this, this would be one of the main parts to snap, especially when you are keeping this in storage. Make sure that the actual point and shaft of the bayonet itself is safe and it's not being bent in the box or anything like that, because that will snap. It wouldn't bend, much like say on a character options toy, because it isn't made of a cheap flexible plastic. So the actual paint taps on this are rather nice. We do have a few textures of brown to almost give it a wooden texture, along with a few grey paint taps and highlights around the sides in order to give a look at the mechanical features of the gun itself, along with a few rivets up the shaft of the gun, as well as the actual trigger there at the very bottom. And at the very top we do also get the main bayonet section itself, or the knife that is stuck onto the end. I don't really know my weapons that well, but from what I understand, this is a knife that can be removed, of course, from a normal bayonet. But it is still a really nice design, and I think it completes the figure really well also when on display. It certainly makes it stand out quite a lot. Of course, all of the Robert Harrop figures do also come with a uniquely sculpted base that kind of resembles an environment that they are seen throughout the duration of the story. This time round, due to the Mind Robber being a rather white episode with lots of whitewash backgrounds, much like this one that I'm in fact reviewing on, this time round we have a rather snowy looking gravel landscape, which once again has been rather nicely painted, with a few gradients of grey running around the sides, as well as a few additional sculpts of pebbles and almost a bit of debris around the sides of his legs as well. Now this does continue onto the back, and it is a really lovely way to finish off the figure. Of course, the actual trim of the base itself has just been painted in your standard white design, much like any other Doctor Who figure from the Robert Harrop series. And now tilting the base of the figure up, as per usual, it does also come alongside a sticker that once again states the unique identification number for this unit, being 181 out of 200. And finally, for this figure, actually discussing the posture that has been sculpted within, I think that this looks really effective. Of course, the Clockwork soldiers throughout the Mind Robber don't really convey any emotion. They are unnatural, they aren't human, of course, so their design in the actual story is meant to be very animatronic and clockwork, as the name suggests. Therefore, the actual posture of this figure is just incredibly upright and emotionless, and I think that this looks very effective, especially when displayed next to that of the second Doctor figure that is very childlike and innocent in its design. He is holding his hands, looking rather careful and considerate. I think that pose is in fact containing a lot of emotion, when in contrast to this design, when it is of course rather stern, with not really much going on, with his rather bleak looking face that is very serious. So I do think that it is very effective, and I really do like this figure because of that. So overall, for the Doctor Who Robert Harrop limited edition hand-painted figurine of the Clockwork Soldier, as seen in the second Doctor story, The Mind Robber, that is limited edition to 200 units, and was in fact the Christmas special release for 2018, I think that this is once again a really cool figurine to add to your Robert Harrop collection. Naturally, if you are a collector of this series, no doubt you have in fact purchased this product already. However, it is really great to finally add a product like this from the Mind Robber to my collection, simply because it is a story that previously hasn't seen too much merchandise from it, even though the designs from the actual stories themselves, from the monsters and the villains, are in fact very visually effective, having the appearance very much of a childlike toy or even a wind-up clockwork robot such as this. The actual design itself is rather basic, but I think that certainly works in Robert Harrop's benefit, because even though this is a very basic design, it is still really impressively made. It represents the character as seen in the story very well, and the paint application is indeed very sharp. I love the way the actual shirt itself has been painted in that red colour. It looks very vibrant and does stand out, and also those more intricate details, including the emblem on the hat, as well as the tassels on the sides of the shoulder pads, are also really effective, having different washes in there of yellows and golds in order to make them look a lot more eye-catching. The inclusion of the bayonet as well as the wind-up key on the figure's back is also very unique, and something of which that you don't normally get on Robert Harrop statues or any other Doctor Who figure for that matter, meaning that this figure is a rather individual and unique design to add to your collection, and certainly one of which that I recommend picking up if you are a fan of this series. Of course, as I stated at the very start of this review, this product is limited edition to 200 units, and at the current time of filming has in fact already sold out on the Robert Harrop website, meaning that the only place that you can in fact purchase this from is other third-party retailers or people actually selling this on after buying it the first time round. So it is really nice in the 21st century to have almost a niche line of Doctor Who collectibles that have a very small production run, that once they are gone, they are in fact gone. So if you are a fan of the classic series, a fan of the second Doctor era, even more specifically the Mind Robber, this is a perfect product for you, with really lovely paint apps, and it will stand out a lot with the rest of your figures. So thank you very much for watching this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have any questions about this product or any of the other Robert Harrop figurines, then please do leave them in the description below and I will reply to them at some point in the near future. And do stay tuned for more Robert Harrop reviews in the future, as my next video as a part of this series will in fact be the Solonian mutant as seen in the third Doctor story, The Mutants, has in fact just came out this month, and that review will be coming in the next week or so. So thank you very much for watching this review, and I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.